the American Red Cross is a name for some of our neighbors. More than 1.5 million volunteers around the country who can help us through an emergency when we need them.
Hello, and welcome to Your Red Cross in Action. I'm Arthur Burtman, an American Red Cross volunteer. It has been said you're never too old to learn about health, safety, and preparedness. And to that end, we've presented programs aimed at older adults. But it's also true that you're never too young to learn about those things. And so today's program is about American Red Cross youth programs. We're pleased to have as our guest today Amelia Aubourg, Director of Youth Programs for the American Red Cross of Eastern Massachusetts. Welcome, Amelia.
Thank you for having me, Arthur.
Let me begin by having you define youth.
So when we talk about youth at the Red Cross, we mean anyone in the age range of 5 years old all the way to 24 years of age.
That's a little different than the legal definition of juveniles.
It is very much so, and we have a wide range in terms of that age group because we provide so many services for every specific age.
Describe the various youth programs that the Red Cross offers.
So at the American Red Cross of Eastern Massachusetts, we engage youth through leadership, service, and education. So we have a number of service initiatives that we engage youth throughout the year in terms of events, whether it's Red Cross events, which are blood drives or food pantry dates, or community service partner events, like the annual MLK Day of Service. We also have leadership opportunities for high school students and for our college students. The Intercollegiate Council is a 9-member board that represents the leadership of our clubs. And the Youth Advisory Board is the umbrella group for our teens in Eastern Massachusetts. They act as the voice for all of our youth corps, which is over 700 strong. We also have a thriving education program. It's a free program that we offer to youth-based organizations and schools and communities to talk about what it takes to respond, what it takes to be prepared for an emergency, should it be a health emergency or an emergency like a fire or a recurrent event. In addition to that, we have over 30 service groups that help to plan events and spread the Red Cross mission at their school communities. And they are very dynamic and very passionate about the work of the Red Cross and the work that they get to do within their school groups.
Where do you present your programs?
We have our programs throughout Eastern Massachusetts. Is pretty much our footprint. So it's 190 cities and towns. It's all of the communities that are in Northeast, all of the communities in Mass Bay, and all the communities in Cape and Islands. We're out there outreaching and talking to different groups about really what it means to have a Red Cross presence at your school or at your organization, and really what we do for our young people is really provide a platform of sorts to be empowered about doing humanitarianism work, as well as engaging different peers in creative ways through what we do with the Red Cross. So it's really a lot of community outreach, a lot of communications, and a lot of planning and partnership that we work on every single year to talk about what we do.
All right, let's stop for a minute now and watch a video. Our videos today are taken from the Red Cross program Masters of Disaster. This program is offered at 3 age levels. Today's videos are from the kindergarten through grade 2 level. Let's stop and watch.
Can you imagine what it would be like to be in a hurricane?
No. What's it like? Well, Shirlita is here to tell you a fable about hurricanes. Well, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
You know what I have in my hand.
Frogs.
Right. Well, these aren't the frogs that would say, hello, how you doing? These frogs make a certain kind of noise. Cookie, cookie. Can you say that?
Cookie, cookie.
Very good, because I'm going to need you to help me tell this story. You see, all the animals gathered asking, have you heard? Have you heard?
Cookie, cookie.
Sounds much like a bird. Ah, but a bird is not, says Grandpa Geeko sitting on a log.
Cookie, cookie.
That's the song of the Coqui frog. This time it just doesn't sound right. Not like the song they usually sing at night. Well, how do you mean? Sounds like the coming of a hurricane. Little Geeko asked. Grandpa, explain. Well, the company of much wind and great rain. Will we celebrate with joy and laughter? Ah, we must wait to see what comes after. And if we know in time we can prepare, then nature's great storm won't be such a scare. The Coquis will tell us which path it will take, which villages may flood, which trees may break. It's always different, rearranging the land. But we're still trying to learn, still trying to understand. You know, I've seen many, and they're never the same. You know, those hurricanes, you just can't tame. So if you ever hear that sound,
Cookie, 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 cookie.
listen very carefully, because it just might be a hurricane coming. You were great. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. Great. Wasn't that great? Famous about Shirlita.
Bye. See you again. Bye, Shirlita. Hope to see you again.
Did you enjoy that fable?
Yes.
Good. So let's discover what a hurricane is. Do you know?
No. Can I tell
What do you think?
A big storm.
Uh-huh.
A big storm with lots of wind.
Good. Yes, you're both right. A hurricane is a big storm with strong winds and usually lots of rain. Hurricanes have winds that blow around a place in the center where there's no wind at all. That place is called the eye. The way that the hurricane clouds blow around the eye is called a spiral. Now, we can make a spiral of hurricane clouds using cotton balls. Come on over here. Everybody take a cotton ball. Good. Now I want you to stretch your cotton ball out into skinny pieces of cotton. You can stretch it out or mash it down. I'm gonna put glue on this paper, and we are gonna press the cotton on top of the spiral to show what hurricane clouds look like.
We're making a spiral. This is the way hurricane clouds go around the eye. Do hurricane spirals always go around in the same direction?
Yes, they do. They always go counterclockwise. That's the opposite direction of the hands of a clock.
Put an eye in the middle. The harder the wind blows, the bigger the hurricane is.
You're right. Just gonna finish that off. Good.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, good job. Cover up that glue.
Perfect.
And there we go. Perfect. Okay, good. Good job. What a great spiral. Go sit back down, and we'll learn about hurricanes.
Okay.
Hurricanes start out as storms over the ocean. They need warm water to grow and gain strength. If the winds get stronger and the rain gets heavier, then we call it a tropical storm. If the storm keeps getting bigger until the wind is blowing really, really hard, then weather scientists call it a hurricane.
Do they have hurricanes all over the world?
Yes, they do. But in some countries, like Japan, they're called typhoons. And on the east coast of our country, we say, it's hurricane season again.
What do you mean by hurricane season?
That is a good question. What I mean by that is that in the United States, on the East Coast, which is by the Atlantic Ocean, hurricanes can happen for 6 months out of the year, from June through November, which is why they call it a hurricane season. Now, on the west coast of our country, which is by the Pacific Ocean, hurricanes can happen at all different times, so they don't call it a season. Now, if we were weather watchers, what sort of weather would we watch for during hurricane season?
I'd watch for some rain. I'd watch for lots of rain and wind.
Good.
I'd watch for another month when there aren't any hurricanes.
Hurricanes can be very dangerous storms. If a hurricane was coming our way, do you know what we'd do to prepare?
No. Can you tell us?
Well, let's listen to this radio announcement.
The hurricane is moving in our direction with winds clocked at 100 miles per hour.
Everyone in your family should know your family disaster plan.
How does a youth program differ from an adult program?
Well, we offer the same type of programming. I think the difference comes in several ways. One is the approach. A lot of our young people that we see within our services and programming really value meeting other young people who are just as passionate about service. They're also empowered to want to give back to their community, and they value the work that the Red Cross does. I think with young people, it's not necessarily what you do, but how you reach them. And you know, we do it in creative ways. We have dances. We also have concerts. And there are a number of different initiatives that we engage our young people in throughout the year. So it's consistent as well as continuous. With regards to the other difference is that our young people don't directly respond to fires like our adult volunteers. So they do a lot of philanthropy with fundraising and doing a lot of the preparedness work that's needed to mitigate a disaster. But in terms of direct impact service, that's more of an adult level volunteer opportunity. And in terms of just working across our organization, you know, it's always a touch point for us when we have kids that come through our chapter and help us administratively, whether it's writing cards to the troops or even writing cards to our donors, just for the employees to see young people who are willing to serve and willing to just called upon when they're called upon to do the work that we do.
Tell me, the presenters that present your programs, are they volunteers, are they staff, or are they both?
Well, we do a number of opportunities with both our staff and volunteers. We have, in terms of our education program, a person focused on engaging volunteers that will go out and facilitate workshops like preparing for the unexpected, or Masters of Disaster, or Choke Save, which is the health and safety end of the preparedness work that we do. We have volunteers who are trained to teach community-based organizations as well as youth-based organizations, and we're always looking for more. It's really easy, and you just have to love to talk in front of groups of people and really have a will to learn and be open to learning from others as well.
How would someone become a part of your program?
Well, in order to become a volunteer with the Red Cross, you go through the process, which is really easy. You fill out an application. If you're over the age of 18, go through a background check, and then you come to our chapter for an orientation. We do orientations in the Cambridge office, where we have our headquarters in Kendall Square, but we also do them all over our region. So if you live in South Shore, you can come to an orientation in Brockton or New Bedford. If you live in the North Shore, you can have one in Haverhill or Beverly. We really try to make it as accessible to everyone. And in that orientation, you learn about the history of the Red Cross, but you also learn about all the different services that we offer. You know, it's never something that we take for granted when people want to volunteer their time to our organization. It's something that we're grateful for, and being in a voluntary organization is something that we thrive on. But having said that, you know, in terms of the vast opportunities there are to volunteer, it's really a dynamic place to learn, but also to meet a lot of different people.
I really relate to what you're saying, because I've been a volunteer for 35 years, and I go back to my beginning years when exactly what you're talking about happened to me. Let's stop now again and watch more of our Masters of Disasters Kindergarten through 2 video.
Let's check our family disaster supplies kit.
Great idea. I'll call on Carolyn and make sure she knows we may be coming over if we have to leave because of the hurricane.
I'll lock the windows, close the shutters, and bring all the outdoor things inside so they don't get blown away.
I'll unplug the television and the computer.
I filled this big bottle with water. Here's our battery-powered radio, flashlight, and some extra batteries. We also have our first aid kit.
I know we have the water. We have our food. Tasty food, too. Do we have a can opener? Because some of these foods are in cans.
Here you go.
Oh, we do.
Here's a blanket and some books, just in case we want to read them.
Here's some extra tools I brought along with us. Well, I guess that's everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Widespread flooding is expected in our area. Please be ready to evacuate your home if necessary.
Oh.
Okay, those are some good tips. Now, since a hurricane causes lots of rain, a hurricane can also cause floods. But, of course, you don't need a hurricane to have a flood, because a flood can happen any time that a lot of rain falls in a short period. During a storm, like a hurricane, a lot of rain falls very quickly in a few hours or a day. In other kinds of weather, rain can fall over a few days or even a few weeks. What happens is, so much rain comes down on rivers, streams, lakes, and canals that they can't hold it all. And that's when flooding happens. Now let's discover how flooding works by looking at our little town in the sandbox. What we did here was build this little town in the sand. We have hills and valleys and a stream bed. Ashley, will you turn on the water? Slowly, good, gently. Now everybody gets a bottle. Pass that down, good. Now we are going to spray above the town very gently so the rain comes down. Go ahead, spray in the air. Good, a little higher so the rain comes down. Good.
Hey, this isn't gonna flood. Squirt it harder. The soil is getting very wet. The ground is getting soaked because the water doesn't have anywhere to go.
Good. Now, I want you to open up your nozzles and spray even harder so that we have a very hard rainstorm like a hurricane.
Look at the houses, they're falling.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
cool.
what's happening?
The river's getting bigger.
Yeah. Okay, good. What have we learned about flooding? Let's turn those sprays off. What have we learned about flooding?
Once the soil gets too wet from the rain, the water has no place to go, so it floods.
Exactly. Can you turn that faucet off, Ashley? If there's a lot of rain or rain falls for a long time, flooding can happen. Flooding can be dangerous, and it can happen anytime and any place. If the water rises in the rivers and streams very quickly, we call it flash flooding. Why do you think we use the word flash to describe that kind of flooding?
Because it goes fast.
Uh-huh. Why else?
Because it's kind of like a flash of lightning. The flash is quick.
Yeah, it's very fast. Now, if you were outside playing and you saw floodwaters coming very fast, do you know what you should do? No?
No.
Let's look over here and find out.
If you see floodwaters, you stop where you are, turn around, and climb to higher ground. So, even if it looks safe to play in floodwater, don't, because the water may still be rising fast. So, to be safe, stop, turn around, and climb to higher ground.
Good. Those are some good tips. Now, today we learned about hurricanes and how to prepare for them, and we learned about flooding and what to do if a flash flood happens. So, what do you say we make some mud pies now? Yeah? Okay, go for it.
Tell me, does a youth program volunteer need any prior training or experience?
Our youth volunteers don't need any prior training or experience. Everyone can volunteer. There's a great quote by Martin Luther King that says, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. And it's pretty much the same for the Red Cross. All you need is just a will to learn and the will to have the time to do the volunteer work. And there are a number of different opportunities, so you can do as much as you want or as little as you want, depending upon the program and the opportunity.
You've already mentioned the training a little bit. Is there any specific training for youth programs?
Well, in terms of youth programs, we have our clubs that are very active. As I stated, we have 30 service groups in Eastern Massachusetts. And so for those individuals or groups that want to start a Red Cross club in their area, whether it's at in their own community or in their high school or college, we do the normal intake process of, taking there as volunteers and filling the applications and going through that. And we also do a lot of training with the specific individuals about what it means to have a club, what the structure is, and what's expected of them, so they understand going forward, how to operate as a Red Cross club at their school. Additionally, for our leadership initiatives that we have, we also do some training throughout the course of the year, because they meet more frequently, about what it is to be a leader and different spectrums through our National Red Cross Service office that we have in terms of project management skills, what it is to work in a group, what it is to work with diverse communities. These are the trainings that we go through in addition to the normal intake process.
As a matter of fact, I've taken a course called Serving the Diverse Community, and it was quite revealing and quite good. I really learned a lot from it. Tell me, how would an organization or a group arrange for a youth program at their site?
Well, they can contact youth programs directly. You can contact my office and call 617-274-5320, or you can visit us at www.easternmassredcross.org. We also engage young people through social media, so we have a Twitter account. It's at ARC Red Cross Youth, as well as a Facebook group. If you go onto our fan page and go to Mass Bay Red Cross Youth Programs and like us, you can definitely get status updates that way too. So there are a variety of ways to get in touch, and definitely we're looking and always wanting more people to come and to help us with the work that we do, because we couldn't do it without volunteers and without the organizations that are out there.
Okay, Amelia, any final thoughts for our viewers?
Well, I just want to thank you again for the opportunity to be here. It's always fun working with young people. I get the opportunity every single day when I go to work. One of the stories that I remember just when I first started was of this young woman who brought her friends into our Red Cross food pantry in Boston. And she, after the service opportunity, had said, I never knew that there were people that waited in line for food, and why is that in this day and age that there are still people who are going hungry. And I share that story because that's pretty much what we do, is create a platform of awareness, as well as a way to engage our young people so that they become leaders of tomorrow. We always say that youth are our future, and they are, but having this type of youth programming to water and invest in them helps us and helps them and helps the sustainability of our organization. And I leave the audience with that, and encourage everyone to get involved, whether it's giving of your time to the Red Cross, your talent, or your treasure, and visiting us at www.easternmassredcross.org to find out more.
Okay, that's our program for today. Our thanks to Amelia Aubourg.
Thank you
for being with us, and our thanks to you for watching us. Please join us again for Your Red Cross in Action. This is Arthur Burtman saying goodbye for now.
The American Red Cross is a name for some of our neighbors. More than 1.5 million volunteers around the country who can help us through an emergency when we need them.